and go.
Hi everyone. Is there anyone here who has more than 5 siblings, comes from a practicing Catholic family, and goes to Catholic school? Anyone? Cool. So that's me, basically. Since I was born, I haven't missed many Sunday Masses, because my parents used to bring all of us to church every Sunday, even when we were very little. So you might think these favorable circumstances led me automatically to becoming a sister, and that I never had any trouble surrendering to God. Well, almost, but. So I grew up in Germany, so that's why I have a German accent still. And I have never drifted away from the faith, thank God. And thanks to my parents also. I rather got very intense when I was your age. Especially during Lent every year. So one year I decided to pray the rosary every day during Lent, like by bits and pieces. So one decade in the morning, one decade on the way to school, one decade between dinner and homework. The next day I was praying the whole rosary, 5 decades in a row, every day during Lent. And then the next year I was going to Mass every day at our parish. And I had to bike 15 minutes to get there. And then one year during Lent, I was about 15 or so, I decided to fast, but really to fast. So I was eating what my mom prepared, but very little, so that I was always hungry. Like I was hungry all the time, like every day during Lent, 40 days, like I was hungry. And I just wanted to love God and please Him. But the problem was I lost a lot of weight, as you can imagine, to the point that even my parents got worried and they dragged me to the doctor and to find out what was wrong with me. So what was wrong with me, it was probably more in my mind. I was trying to really do the right thing, but I was like too perfectionist. And because I had not encountered the love of the Father, God the Father, and that He doesn't expect of us to be perfect in this way. Even though it's good to pray and to fast, of course. So when you think of God the Father, how do you picture the Father? Who is God the Father for you? For me, He was a distant God. He was good, but He wasn't close to me. He wasn't gentle and loving. He was rather looking down like a policeman. So if I would do something wrong, I would get in trouble. Where did that image I had of God come from? It came from my dad. He loved us, but he never really showed his love very much. Most of the time he was absent. He was a principal at a high school, and he was like, my mom would say he's married to his school, so he would spend 12 hours a day at the school, and we would not see him very often. But when he was at home, because he loved us, he wanted us to behave well, to be good kids. So in order to make us behave well, he would punish us if we messed up. In order to teach us to behave. And he would, for example, threaten us to beat us with a stick if we didn't behave. Or one time, I remember I was about 5 years old. I was locked up in my parents' bedroom for half an hour. And this was terrible for a little girl. So there was always this fear in me, this fear of getting in trouble if I messed up. And I still have something of this fear in me. And I was terribly afraid of making mistakes. But thank God for my mom. She was not threatening. She wasn't super affectionate, but she was good. She was always there for us. She was kind of our servant of me and my siblings, always doing everything for us. So I didn't have to be afraid of my mom. So I couldn't relate to God the Father at all because of my dad. But I could relate to Mary as my mother, thanks to my mom. In the Catholic youth group where I was part of, we did a consecration to Mary together as a group. Pray this prayer where you tell Mary you want to belong to her with everything you have and everything you are, and you promise to pray at least one decade of the Rosary every day and to go to confession every month. So I was still like 10 years old or so, but that's what I did. I tried to be faithful. I was faithful, of course, because I was a perfectionist, and so it helped me to develop a personal prayer life. I just loved to spend time in my room where nobody could see me and pray, just be with God in my room, with Mary. And Mary took me by the hand and led me where I am today. She led me to become a sister, but that did not automatically restore my relationship with God the Father. There's nothing automatic in our spiritual life. So, the good news is that Mary always leads us to Jesus, and Jesus always leads us to the Father. He's the way to the Father. So Mary led me to the love and mercy of Jesus. At home, in our family, we didn't talk much about mercy. We didn't know what really mercy is, and we never learned that it was okay to make mistakes and that we could forgive each other and that God would forgive us. We just rather learned to criticize. When I joined the sisters, I heard a lot about God's mercy. And every week in our community we have a gathering where we ask to each other forgiveness for our shortcomings in community life. And then Jesus led me to the Father. I'll just give you a couple examples of moments where Jesus showed me the tenderness of the Father and taught me to trust and surrender. So one day there was a parish mission when I was in New Jersey. As a sister, I was there for 8 years. And so there were the CFR friars, those who are also here, those friars in gray. So they came to that, they did the parish mission, and one of them was there, for confession. So I went to him for confession. It was, this priest, a little older than I, and with gray hair and a long beard like this, long, and he had just a very, he looked very loving and gentle, and so he heard my confession, and then he said, "Sister, be gentle with yourself." And it was like God the Father speaking to me. It was really like God the Father speaking through him to me. It was just a beautiful experience, powerful for me. To hear God the Father, not an accusing voice like my dad's, not punishing me or anything, but just being gentle and loving. And then another example is, I did a pilgrimage to Hawaii with a group. And so we were in Honolulu, the main island, and then we flew one day to Molokai, where St. Damien was. And so it's it's a small area on Molokai. So the airport there is only it looks like a bus stop. It's really tiny. So you cannot have huge planes. You can only have very small planes, like 10-passenger planes, to fly there. and it takes half an hour to fly. And so I was sitting on that plane, on the last seat in the back, and the door was right next to my seat. And like the plane was making a terrible noise, and then the door was shaking like this next to me, and like it seemed to me like the plane was old and like almost falling apart. Maybe that was not true, but it seemed to me, and like everyone, all the passengers on the plane were silent. Nobody was talking, and I think everybody was praying. And I was really like praying with all my heart, God, please keep us safe and let us arrive safe. And I put all my trust in God during that flight. And we did arrive, and we did make it back. It was wonderful, but it taught me to trust God more. Another example is that I often have a very busy schedule, like with all the teaching kids and working, cooking, cleaning, gardening, a lot of things, praying, of course, a lot of things in one day, emails, tons of emails, and a lot of stuff. And then I try to fit everything in one day, and I get so stressed and overwhelmed. I don't know if anybody here has this experience. And I don't ask God, I don't think of asking God what He thinks about it when I try to be in control of everything. But sometimes, I remember one day, it was just too much. I was overwhelmed with all the stuff to do. I got so desperate, I gave up. I just said, God, I can't do this anymore, it's too much. I don't care if others get mad at me because I can't get things done. I don't care. I just give it to you, Lord, and you take care of it. And then I went to the chapel to pray. And I felt so much peace. It was so beautiful. It was so liberating because I had given this to the Lord, and just then He showed me that, yeah, I don't have to be in control, and it's much better when He's in control. So experiences like this help me to let go and surrender, and show me that God takes care of things much better than I could. And He's even able to make time where there's no time. For example, I have an appointment and I get stressed and I'm late, and then the appointment gets cancelled last minute, and then I have plenty of time. So that's wonderful. I am still on the way. I'm still learning to trust God and to surrender. And it's a long way, but it's just exciting, very exciting. And I just invite you to make the same experience. Ask God to show you one thing He wants you to let go and surrender to Him. Just one thing in your life, one at a time. And ask Him to help you trust that He will take care of it. He will take care of it much better than you could. And you can bring this to adoration today. And just, it's sometimes hard to surrender, but if you do it, if you take the step, you will experience how good God is. And I like this verse from 1 Peter 5, I think it's verse 8 or so. Cast all your anxieties on Him, because He cares about you.
We are so glad that Sister was here today. Good to see you, Sister. Yeah, that's all I got. That's it. So you see, like, everybody who's come up before, they have such unique testimonies. None of them are the same. They're all unique and unrepeatable. They're all just in their relationship with God, and they're on their own path, but they're following Him. So I get to give a quick testimony of mine, and then we get to go pray the Rosary, the International Rosary. So for me, some of you in this room are super smart and accomplished, and you get A's. I've heard those exist. and you like school and you do really well, and that's awesome. So you'll hear testimonies from people that are like you. People like Sister who can sit in a room and just pray and be with Jesus. And that's what they long to do. And some of you, that will have been true. And some of the sisters who give their testimony, some of you have experienced that pain, so that'll ring true to you. So for me, if there's anybody in the room who's kind of like, okay, that's you and me. So if anybody in there knows, is he speaking? That's you and me. We're going to connect right now. Because God works, and I'm serious, I'm not just making a joke. I'm not smart, and I didn't do well in school, and things take me a long time, and I don't have a lot of skills. This is it. This is what I do. I can talk. That's the only skill I have, and I never shut up. So, some of you in the room are like that. I'm glad you're shutting up now, because it's my turn, so just take a turn. But some of you in the room are just like, I don't know if this life's going to go well. We'll see how it goes. You and I got good news for you, brother, because none of you are sisters. The sisters don't have that problem. The guys are like, so anyway. God speaks to you how he knows you'll hear him. And it's unique. That way, you're not going to miss his voice. If you give him a chance to talk to you. So God has always spoken to me in two ways. One, he just smacks me upside the back of the head. I will be aware in a moment of him just going like, dude, just pay attention. I'm like, oh, thank you. So that's one way. But actually, so when I talk about being a missionary, because that's why I'm here this weekend to talk the fact that I'm a missionary, we're going to Cambodia, we're selling everything we own, we're just taking a few suitcases, and we're moving to Cambodia. And that seems all like adventurous. It's not. It's just the same as living life. It's just where God's calling us to do. But how that happened, I always say, so my wife has known since she was 10 years old she was going to be a missionary. She's always known. And I always joke that, and I've known since I met my wife, that I was going to be a missionary. Because on our first date ever, we go out and we go to dinner and a movie, and we're out walking the streets of Minneapolis in the summer. It was beautiful, and it's like all the romance in the world is happening, and it's gorgeous, and this is the best moment ever. And at one point, she made it very, very clear, I know I'm going to be a missionary. I've always wanted to. And I was like, yeah, me too. What is it now? What is this, a missionary? Because all I knew was I just wanted to be where she was. That's all I know. This is the puppy dog. So we go on this date, and I'm aware that if it's going anywhere with her, I'm going to be a missionary. I never wanted to be a missionary in my life. And then I always jump to the fact that we lived in China for 2 years as missionaries, and we lived in the Caribbean for 3 years as missionaries, and now we're about to move, hopefully for our life, for as long as God wants, to Cambodia. I always jump to that, because in my brain, that's what it was. I met her, God brought her into my life, and I was gone. I'm just hers. I got her tattoo, and that's it. This is it. But I always forget, there's one moment, and when I was praying last night, God reminded me that this had happened. And I used to talk about it all the time, but I forget now. When I was in college as a freshman, I hadn't met her yet. I just came from Duluth, Minnesota to college. I had no plan for my life. I didn't know what was going on. I was just wasting student loan money every single day. And I went to a Bible college, and so you had to take certain classes at my Bible college. You had to get a Bible minor, basically. And one of the classes you had to take was Intro to Missions, so an introduction to being a missionary. And I just had to take it. It was a requirement for me. And I would sit in the back, because I knew that it was never, that's not me. I'm not going to be a missionary. I never considered it. And I remember I would sit every single class, almost the entire semester. I did the homework because you have to. I got my D's. I got D's and low C's. That's what you got to do. So I did that. And then, so the teacher who taught, or the professor, his name is Doug Lowenberg. And he taught like this. And when he would speak, he would the whole hour, he would walk back and forth, because he was kind of just a preacher. And he would walk, and your notes would just follow him, like across the stage. And one day he was talking about whatever he was talking about, and then he stopped. He said, wait a minute! And so I looked up and started paying attention. And he said, everybody in this room, close your eyes right now. Just close them, put your head down, thumbs up, 7 up. Like, just put your head down. So I did. Oh my gosh, these missionaries. Okay, sure. So I closed my eyes and I put my head down on the desk. And it's quiet. And he said, I want you right now, just for 60 seconds. I want you to, just between you and God, answer the question, if God ever, hypothetically, kind of maybe, possibly in some other future, maybe kind of asked you to be a missionary, would you do it? Go. And then he just stepped back, and for the first time in his life, he just stopped moving. And he just stood there. And so I just was quiet. The whole class was really quiet, and I sat there. I didn't pray. I didn't talk to God. I didn't give him a chance. I just sat there. And 45 seconds in, smacks me inside the head. I'm just suddenly aware that the Holy Spirit is right there going, what are you doing?
I was like, what do you mean? What am I doing? You call yourself a Christian, you're in a Bible college, you're in a missionary class. Are we going to talk about this? I was like, you was the talking. All right. Okay. Yes, God. Fine. If you ever, hypothetically, kind of, maybe in some other existence, sort of, kind of, asked you to be a missionary, and I knew you were asking me, of course I would do it. And I felt like God was like, deal. I was like, crap. And then Doug Lover was like, all right, calm down. He went back and teach me back. And I swear to you, I forgot that moment ever existed. That didn't like live on. I didn't write it down in my journal. I didn't have a journal. I don't know how to write. It just faded into the past. It was gone. I never thought about it again. And it was 2 years later. I go on a date with some girl. And she's like, missionary. I'm like, but I went back that night. And I had to like face between Jesus and I that at one point in my life, long ago, we had a conversation where he said, if I ever made it clear, would you do it? And I remember sitting at my door going, oh my goodness, this is what he meant. This is what he meant when he asked me to trust him. This is what he meant. And so for me, God took this little moment in the middle of a class I didn't do well in, and that I didn't even remember. And he reminded me later, well, now I am. Now I brought this person into your life, and I have plans for you. So now here's the crunch time. Are you gonna or not? And for me, I realized the struggle for all of us, everyone, you know right now, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, you're supposed to be a missionary. The Catechism very clearly says that to be called Catholic, it means universal. For us to be Catholic, the gospel, the good news, God's love has to be preached to all areas and all peoples at all times. And I'm going to Cambodia, I'm not staying in Evansville. That means every single Catholic, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, every day of your life, God is pulling you to be a missionary to your community. He's asking, if I ever sort of kind of asked you, would you do it? But our problem is, we don't see him. He's not here clearly asking us, like Doug Lowenberg was. He's not right in front of us. We're like, oh, it's the Eucharist. Yeah, but still. Yes, I know, you can sit with Jesus in the Eucharist, but it's hard because he's not here on a stage asking us to do it. If Elon Musk showed up in this room right now, and instead of, I choose him because that's my son's favorite human. Not me, Elon Musk. Whatever. If Elon Musk came in and he meant it, he said, guys, listen, I was thinking about it. God really got through to me. And with my billions of dollars, I will take care of it. I will. Every one of you will sign a contract, and anything you need for the rest of your life, I will be there for you. If you need to go to college, I'll provide. If there's something cool overseas and I ask you to come do it, I'll pay for your trip. And I'll take care of you over there. I'll make sure your health care is covered. You'll be like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll trust you. Elon, I trust you. We would we not? If he was face to face and said, and I'll give you a Tesla. Just score. Okay, I'm in. Without a second, I don't even need a contract. You just hold me. Just hold me, Elon. That's what we would do. We would, in a heartbeat. You just let him carry you out like a baby into the world. You and Elon Musk. Not that he walks that way. I don't know if he ever did. We would have no second thoughts. Why? Because we knew he could take care of us. That's why. We would know Elon Musk has everything to take care of us. And the God who made the universe, though, who breathed Elon Musk into existence, who owns all the banks, who has all the money in the world, who has all the donuts at the bank. That's local humor. That God, literally through your life, is asking you every single day, hey, would you go? Hey, will you go to your neighborhood? Hey, will you just go to, Evansville? Yeah, I was wondering if I could take you to the West Coast, to the East Coast. I was wondering if you'd get on a plane with your family and just move to Cambodia. He'll be asking you every day of your life. Now, you might have had intro to missions moments where you had a moment with God where you're like, I trust in you. I want to do what you want me to, Lord. You might have had those moments, but you might not have yet. But I guarantee you, every single day of your life, he's asking. He's asking every day, will you go with me or are you going alone today? Well, hey, if you go with me, it's going to be fun. You'll have diarrhea stories. It's going to be so good. The diarrhea will never end. He'll be asking you every day of your life if you'll go with him. It's not a blue line. It's just, hey, will you live with me? Can we spend our lives together? Think how romantic it would be the day you meet somebody who looks at you and just says, I don't care where we go. I just want to be with you. I don't care. Whatever it is, just can I be with you? Can we spend our lives together? That's the moment we all wait for, and it's happening every day with Jesus. He just loves you so much. He's like, dude, life is really fun. Can we go live it? You can keep doing what you're doing. So that's the challenge for all of the in the room. This is your challenge. I'm your Doug Lowenberg. Here's what we're gonna do. Before we leave, we're gonna go pray the international. We're gonna play the rosary. That's fun. We're gonna go pray the international rosary. Actually, the flag from the country that I lived in for 3 years, where we adopted our kids from, that's in it. Dominica. It's green and it's got a parrot on it. It's in the corner. You'll see it when you first walk in. It's right above. There isn't one for Cambodia, but many countries of the world are shown up there. So here's the thing: when I go in September to Cambodia, Lord willing, we will need money, but not so much. God will always take care of money, but He can't make you guys pray for us. And there will be times when we're over there where maybe life is scary. Maybe where our Christianity is challenged. Maybe, I know they're getting more and more stringent and communist, and they're not as kind to Christians anymore. So I'm facing all that. What we can do, through the rosary, through the international rosary we're about to pray, you guys can go in there, and just here in Evansville, at Source and Summit, you can just pray for the missionaries of the world. You can just pray for people. You can strengthen people like me over there. You can do that today. But first, before you do that, before you pray for others today, I want to challenge you guys in this moment to see if He's asking you to do that. Because I know statistically, I don't even have to know you to know this, statistically, He's asking some of you in this room to be a missionary overseas. He's asking you to be a foreign missionary. Some of you He is. And you might have never thought about it until some idiot comes up here and asks you to do it. But in general, we're going to give 60 seconds. I'm going to pull a Doug Lowenberg on you. And I'm going to watch my clock. We're not going to goof around. We're not going to... Silence is tough for some humans. That's okay. We're just going to close our eyes, and we're going to give. If God, hypothetically, ever, possibly, maybe kind of, in some other universe, asked you to root up and go overseas to be a missionary, would you do it? If you knew He was asking you to. And then on a deeper level, for those 60 seconds, also open your heart to Him for the missionary you already are. Because you are. He's put you in your corner of the world. You're all afraid in some way. If we let Christ enter fully into our lives, if we open ourselves totally to Him, aren't we afraid that He might take something away from us? Aren't we perhaps afraid to give up something significant, something unique, something that makes life so beautiful? Do we not then risk ending up diminished or deprived of our freedom? No. If we let Christ into our lives, we lose nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing of what makes life free, beautiful, and great. No. Only in this friendship are the doors of life open wide. Only in this friendship is the great potential of human existence truly revealed. Only in this friendship do we experience beauty and liberation. And so today, with great strength and great conviction on the basis of long personal experience of life, I say to you, dear young people, do not be afraid of Christ. He takes nothing away, and He gives you everything. When we give ourselves to Him, we receive 100-fold in return. Yes, open wide the doors to Christ, and you will find true life. So for 60 seconds, we're going to be silent, and you're So now, you guys can walk. When we go in there, remember, we're going in an attitude of prayer. You guys, it's not that you can't talk in the hallway and have joy.